Hello and welcome to this overview of Divisimate Core, the modular orchestration tool. With this new plugin, we introduce a whole new way of working with virtual instruments in your DAW for orchestration, color combination, and just quick writing. With 16 parts per plugin and a basically infinite amount of independent instances, paired with all the essential features of Divisimate 2, this plugin opens up a lot of possibilities and allows for a workflow that has been requested by a number of people over the years. In this video we will have a look at Divisimate Core, all the included features, and especially what we mean by Modular Orchestration Toolkit. So first, let's cover the basics of what Divisimate Core does. Divisimate Core runs as an instrument plugin in your DAW, but on its own it does not produce any sound. When MIDI comes in on the plugin track, it is split up into individual parts that can then be sent out to different instrument tracks. So essentially, it is a tool to take MIDI, be it played live or prepared MIDI regions, and spread it across different instruments. So for example, I have an orchestral brass section here with individual players for every instrument. 6 horns, 4 trumpets, 4 trombones, and a tuba. 15 tracks all in all. I have these connected to my Divisimate Core track up here. Now let's say I have this MIDI region here with a little phrase that alternates between chords and unison lines, and I want my brass section to play it. I could now just copy this region to every single instrument and delete notes until each instrument only gets the note that I want. But that's a time-consuming process and there's no way to preview it. I can only listen to the result once I have edited all the parts. And if I then want to change something about the distribution of notes, I need to do it all again. Divisimate Core allows me to drop this region on its track, go into the plugin and set up an orchestration for my brass section that will automatically create separate parts for every instrument from this MIDI. Now I can record enable my brass, hit play and record the individual parts right away on my instrument tracks. As you can see, I now have nice split parts across my horns and trumpets. If I want to change the notes or tweak the orchestration, for example add trombones an octave lower, I just delete the parts, do my changes on the Divisimate Core track and run it again. And then, when I'm happy with the broad strokes, but I want to go into detail, I can just directly edit the individual parts for each instrument. This is a huge time saver, especially for working with sections that are made up of individual instruments, like brass or woodwinds. There's also a lot more you can do with it. You can set up automatic voicings that get generated from a single line. You can generate rhythms and patterns with the Arpeggiator plugin. You can set up different orchestrations and switch between them mid-phrase. You really do have a lot of different possibilities at your hands with this plugin. So if you're familiar with Divisimate 2, all this is not news to you. This has been the essential workflow of all versions of Divisimate for a while. But what do we mean by modular? Well, instead of having one big Divisimate 2 instance in your project that addresses your whole template at once, with Divisimate Core you can have multiple instances side by side. Each can have its own unique MIDI source, have its own performance and presets, and address up to 16 instruments at once. This way you can have one control track for woodwinds, one for brass, one for strings, maybe even one for choir or whatever sub-ensemble makes sense in the context of your music. For Divisimate 2, the idea was that you would connect your entire orchestra at once to one plugin and build orchestrations and color combinations from everything together. This can be very inspiring and powerful, but it can also be limiting if you would prefer to write section by section, or intimidating even if you only want an easier way to handle your woodwind section and are not looking to connect dozens of tracks and change your whole workflow. So Divisimate Core gives you the option to start smaller, choose exactly which parts of your template you want to use Divisimate with, and which parts you leave in a traditional way. And to get you started, we have included 3 dedicated performances for brass, strings and woodwinds with over 200 presets ranging from simple colors to automatic voicings to rhythms. We will take a closer look at these in a different video. So how exactly does this work? Divisimate Core has 2 main modes of addressing individual instruments, which you can select up here in the configuration menu. The first and most convenient way is to use the plugin out. If Divisimate Core is set to this mode, it will send the 16 parts it creates on MIDI channel 1 to 16 on the direct output of the plugin itself. You can then select this output on your instrument tracks and filter it by channel. So in my brass here, I have selected the instance of Divisimate Core for every instrument, and horn 1 is only listening to channel 1, horn 2 to channel 2, and so on, all the way down to the tuba at channel 13. This is a very convenient way of routing MIDI within the session, and the best thing about this is that when you're using the plugin out, you don't have any limitations how many instances of Divisimate Core you add. You can just have 1 or you can have 20, and the limiting factor to it is only your machine, not Divisimate Core in its architecture. Unfortunately, in some DAWs this routing is not possible, because either using a direct plugin out is not supported at all, or it is not possible to filter it by MIDI channel afterwards. For these DAWs, Divisimate Core also includes the option to use virtual MIDI ports the way Divisimate 2 does it. So in this mode, each instance connects to a set of 16 virtual MIDI ports that can be selected as distinct input devices on different instrument tracks. This achieves the same thing as the plugin out method with the distinct parts getting recorded on the tracks. The main downside here is that there can only be 2 instances of Divisimate Core run side by side when using this method, as there are only 32 ports available. So the first instance has port 1 to 16 and the second one port 17 to 32, and that's all it can do. If your DAW supports it, and almost all of them do, we recommend going with the plugin out that I showed you earlier. Check out our quick start guides on our website to see how the setup works for your DAW of choice. Divisimate Core includes the most essential features of Divisimate 2 that lend themselves best to this sort of workflow. If you know Divisimate 2, you will feel right at home, and you can reference the videos of Divisimate 2 for a deeper dive into each feature. But let me give you a quick overview of the software here. The plugin is structured into 2 main views, the Orchestrate page and the Perform page. On the Orchestrate page, you can select the number of voices you want to play and route them to your instruments. When you play a chord with a certain number of voices, this decides which instruments are playing and what instrument is playing which note. You can also add modifier plugins on each instrument. The available modifier plugins are the Transposer plugin, including the option to lock to global scale, the Trigger plugin to send key switches or controllers when a preset is loaded, and the Arpeggiator plugin in its basic function to create patterns and textures. Everything that happens on the Orchestrate page can be saved into an orchestration preset and recalled through the menu or through the Perform page. The Perform page is the place where you can organize your favorite orchestrations and recall them quickly. You can assign presets to the Perform pads you see here and have your favorite orchestrations for that specific ensemble ready to go. This layout of presets on the Perform page is what we call a performance. You can set up different layouts and selections of presets up here in the Performance Manager. This way you can prepare a performance dedicated to your woodwind section and have a whole different layout for your brass section, or even different performances for different compositions, and keep it all organized. Here's where you will also find the different pre-installed factory performances. Down here you can export and import performances, including all the orchestration presets, into one file to share with other users or between systems. If you click the little gear icon here, you can access the performance settings. This gives you the option to activate and define a global key switch area for the performance, which shows up green on your keyboard. Notes within this range will be sent to all active instruments, so if you have unified key switches on your ensemble, you can switch articulations for all instruments at once across all presets within this performance. And then you get also the option to define unique humanization values for this performance that override the global settings. There are different ways to load presets on the Perform page. The first, most obvious way is to click with the mouse on a Perform pad. Another way to switch presets is the MIDI remote. This can be set up through the settings page down here under Remote Setup. The MIDI remote allows you to remote control Divisimate Core through MIDI messages and access your favorite orchestrations without opening the plugin. If you have a MIDI controller that can be programmed to send specific values, you can send MIDI CC31 or program changes to call up the Perform page with the corresponding number. Or you can use the newest feature addition, the MIDI key remote. This functionality basically allows you to build a key switch remote. Choose a key range that should be used for the MIDI remote, which will show up in orange on the keys, and click on the little gear icon here to assign a command to each key. You can not only assign perform pads, but also other commands like switching the Divisimate, changing the global scale, or activating the bypass function. Speaking of, the bypass function is the solution for when you want to play each instrument individually. When it is activated, Divisimate Core will send through all incoming MIDI on all channels unchanged. This way you can keep Divisimate Core record or monitoring enabled and record enable your single instrument, and you can just record the track as if Divisimate Core wasn't even there. The power button, on the other hand, just blocks all MIDI going through Divisimate Core. This is useful in some situations with specific routings, and it also serves as a panic button when you have any problems. Finally, here on the settings page, you can find some settings for the Divisi engine, define values for the humanization that adds little human inconsistencies for the different parts, and choose a zoom setting if you want the interface to be a bit bigger or smaller. So that's a very quick overview of what is included in Divisimate Core. There are a lot of fun ways all these features can be used, and almost every feature warrants its own little deep dive. The great thing about that is that we actually have done a lot of videos on the different features already, so we recommend to check out these to get to know them in depth. Or you can just download the fully functional free trial and explore them for yourself. We are really excited to bring you this new plugin with its unique possibilities. If you already own Divisimate 2, we offer you a steep cross-grade discount for Divisimate Core, and of course there are special discounts for owners of Divisimate Micro as well. Just log into your account on our website, head over to the product side, and you should see your own personal upgrade or cross-grade pricing. We hope you enjoy this new variation of Divisimate and it enables you to create music in exactly the way that you want. We are looking forward to bring you new innovations in the future, and of course we want to talk more about how Divisimate Core can be used in action. So subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that already, and consider joining our Discord server to discuss with other users and exchange presets, performances, tips and tricks. For now, that is all. Thank you for watching, and till next time.